Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas is a local weekend morning show featuring the people, events, and companies that make Las Vegas the place to live, shop, work, and play. Good morning. Thank you for joining us again this weekend. We're back here at Vegas PBS on their amazing campus. In fact, we snuck into one of their control rooms, so don't tell anyone. Yesterday we learned that public broadcast is so much more than television programs for our entertainment. I'm still looking for Big Bird though. Later in today's program, we're going to be meeting up again with Tom Axtell, General Manager of Vegas PBS. Yesterday he shared with us one of the biggest myths about public television. Today he's going to share with us the future. Our first discovery today, a couple of women who are leading the charge to improve our high school graduation rates. But before we meet with them, let me share with you the other experts we have in store for you today. We'll be hearing from Richard Hanseen with Wealth Building Advice. Joanne Lucia at Interiors by Designer Studios shows us how to bring the outdoors inside with natural style furnishings. We'll get a preview of the upcoming Mid-Century Modern Weekend. Our pharmacist answers a few questions posted on our website. Now let's meet Debbie Tomasetti and Deborah Solt. So I think we've gathered up all the Debs in town for this interview this morning. Debbie, we're probably going to start with you and then come over to you, Deborah, for the implementation part of the program. But maybe you can talk to us and just tell us, what is the mentor program?
The Reclaim Your Future Mentoring Project started from the Reclaim Your Future campaign walk. Our very first campaign walk was in September of 2011, where community members teamed up with school district personnel, and we went out into the homes of seniors that did not return to school for that current school year. And we talked with the students and their families about the decision that they had made not to return to school. And their reasons varied. Of course, many of them, it was an economic reason. Many of the students were working full-time to support their families and did not see how they could work full-time and go to school full-time, so they made the choice not to return to school. Some of them were so credit deficient that they didn't feel they'd ever catch up, so they didn't think they had the opportunity to graduate. For some students, though, they felt that nobody cared whether they attended school or not. When they were at school, they felt invisible. When they weren't at school, nobody noticed that they weren't there either. And so that, for me as an educator, hit me really hard. It's not okay for students to feel that way in our school system. Right. And so the superintendent, based on that information and based on some national trends going on, decided that our students, when they did return to school, needed support, additional support from the community. And thus, the Reclaim Your Future Mentoring Project was born. So it really is a support to the school to help the school do what they're doing already to help these seniors graduate. The goal of the mentoring project is graduation.
And so, Deborah, you are working hand in hand with the school district here at Vegas PBS.
Correct. What we're doing is helping them brand their own web portal in order to provide training to the mentors who will be working with these students. And one of the things is, oftentimes you have orientations or you have programs in order to develop mentors, and they have to be, they're time or place bound. And I think the goal is to provide access to the training in order to get anyone who really wants to be a mentor involved in the program at some level.
And so they can do that right on the website?
They can do that right on the web portal. Mm-hmm. It will be branded the Reclaim Your Future with the school district. So we're just kind of the back end. We're the infrastructure that's going to help the software run and have a record of the training for the people who go through that.
And so the keywords, Reclaim Your Future. So who's the target for this program?
The target are seniors who are 2 to 3 credits deficient and or have not passed all or part of their high school proficiency exam. Those are the students that with additional support we can get across the graduation stage in 1 year.
Oh, so that gives it a real short, very measurable time frame.
Absolutely.
Now, we talked a little bit before. I'd like you to share with the audience your background here.
I started in the Clark County School District as a teacher in 1985, but I'm a product of the Clark County School District. I grew up in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's great. So you must have some great stories on the growth.
This town has changed quite a bit since I was a little one, yes.
And so what are some of your favorite things about Las Vegas?
I think for me, especially tied to this project, the people living here are just amazing. And I think I always knew that growing up here. But when I joined this project in November of 2011, since then, I've had the opportunity to talk with hundreds of community members and business leaders and people who are operating nonprofit organizations, all focused on assisting the youth in this community. And I think the one thing that really has struck me the most is that these people, regardless of if they have children in the system or not, have stepped up and have asked over and over again, what can we do to help our young people?
That's really great. I'm really impressed by that. And some of the big names that you're talking about, can you say those names?
We're talking about Jim Murin at the MGM Resorts International, John Gudry, Bank of Nevada, the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce.
I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that our community leaders are stepping up to help with something so important to, it really is their future workforces that are on the line.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, to help launch this program, I think it's important to know that both MGM and Nevada Energy stepped up to help provide scholarships so that we can actually jumpstart this program. And we're real excited about that.
And you're on the implementation phase of the program, but tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I've been here in Las Vegas since 2000. Actually, was recruited down here by the College of Southern Nevada. It was then the Community College of Southern Nevada in order to do workforce training and economic development, program design and development, and helped open the Green Valley Advanced Technology Center. So I've been everything from a site administrator to a program developer to interim dean and director of their workforce division until actually leaving, starting my own business, and now here at Vegas PBS.
And so you have really a solid base of knowledge and information to be able to implement such an important program like this.
Well, I think that it's the sign of the times. You know, you look at technology, and as much as either we love it or we hate it, or it's too much or too little, it's where our workforce is going. And so having a platform to deliver that training just in time and where people want it so that it can fit with their schedules, I think is important. And I've been around the entire e-learning workforce development now since actually 1994. So I've seen it evolve over the years through the different platforms and the delivery. It's oftentimes seen, or it started out being seen as almost less than. In fact, we know that a lot of online now is more than.
Wow. Well, I applaud both of you for the great work that you're doing to help our young students, our future workforce, get what they need to be successful here. And so if you had any recommendations for our audience about how they could get involved, do they have to have kids in school? Is there a way that they can help?
Absolutely. They do not have to have children in the Clark County School District. They just need a passion for assisting our young people to become successful. And they can just contact me, or they can go through the Clark County School District's website to find information about the project. And we are actively recruiting always. So we need some really strong individuals to be available to our students.
Nice. What about you here at PBS? Is there something they can help you with?
Oh, there's always volunteer opportunities. Volunteers help us get the word out, I think. I think, the relationship between PBS and the school district is one of a lot of synergy. And a lot of we've got mutual goals. We want to educate and our public at all levels. And so, they can find a place, whether it's with the school district, with PBS. And I think for this particular program, Deb, you want to give out your phone number?
Absolutely. 799-6560.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm sure that you'll be getting calls. We're doing our part at Hometown Discoveries. We'll be pushing this out on YouTube, on Facebook, so that it gets a lot of publicity. I'm very passionate about our schools and our students and the future of Las Vegas.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity too.
Want more Hometown Discoveries? Check out our Facebook page and hit the like button. We'll be posting behind the scenes photos and comments that we want to share with you. Coming up next, Richard Hanseen, our local wealth advisor with a unique process. He listens first.
When I first moved to Las Vegas, it was very exciting to come out here because the donkeys, the burros were out here. And we took great pleasure in bringing carrots and apples out to them because they would come over and actually stick their head right in the car door. And for some, I notice now it's a $500 fine for doing that, but we used to do that and we loved it. And that was kind of the draw, the beginning of the draw. We always ask a question. The question is really open-ended, and it is, if we're sitting here 3 years from now, having this conversation, and you look back over that 3-year period of time, what has to have happened in that period for you to be happy with your progress? When we start to get the answers to that question, what we really end up with is your goals and your objectives. Because we're looking into the future 3 years, and we're measuring what has to have happened, they are your goals and objectives. But instead of doing this huge, dramatic process, we narrow it down to a few things that are important to you. We will end up with a list of things that are important that need to be accomplished, and we'll key on the 3 most important to you. The other piece of the DOS question is, what is your dangers, opportunities, and strength? What are the dangers that will keep you from accomplishing those goals and objectives? What are the opportunities that you have that will allow you to accomplish those objectives? And what kind of strengths have you developed over your life that also help you move forward in accomplishing those goals and objectives? People have a tendency not to focus on what they have accomplished. What they do is tend to fret about what they don't have. Well, everyone has accomplished a huge amount as they live through this life. So we begin there, and we begin to elucidate or write down exactly what your goals and objectives are, what the dangers are that keep you from getting there, what your strengths are, and move you forward into accomplishing those goals, and the opportunities you have that will take you forward. And they can be dramatic. Opportunities can be unseen. They can be new positions. They can be new businesses. They can be things that we don't really, that we kind of take for granted. But once we start to talk about them, you can see how important they are and what the opportunities are to get you to that position. As far as financial planning is concerned, you really need to get with someone, and you're welcome to call me. My first visit is free, to sit down and discuss the possibilities of working with someone to help you with your financial plan.
If you have a question for one of our experts, you can contact us on our website at hometowndiscoveries.com. Joanne Lucia at Interiors by Designer Studio shows us how to update our home furnishings with a natural style.
It's really a combination of obviously natural ingredients. We have some wave panels, which I think are very fun. They can be hung either as we have put them behind nightstands, but they could be a headboard, they could be a lot of different
Now, what
things.
are those made out of?
That is a woven reed.
Okay.
And just for interest, these particular lamps that we have here are slate. And they are actually geared to go inside as well as outside.
Oh my God, are they very heavy?
Fairly heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have some winds here in Las
I was
Vegas.
just going to say,
and
think
we wanna
about
make
that.
sure it
Yep.
doesn't float around.
Absolutely.
You'll see also over the headboard is a round. It happens to be 48 inches round. I think it's a wonderful piece that can hang over the headboard, over a sofa, whatever. And we introduced this with more of a transitional piece of furniture, so we don't go too much over the top.
Right.
But we have enough of the natural elements.
I really like that round one. I
Isn't that
really do.
fun? Yeah,
That
it is fun,
great.
isn't it?
Very unusual. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, well, we do try very hard to bring things in that are not so normal.
I like
Sometimes a little bit more out of the box is good.
that. I like that a lot. I really do.
Now, also what could be interesting in this particular element would be a skin, because it kind of works with the natural feeling of what's going on. I like it because we just brought in a collection of very unusual cowhides that this is probably more of a normal thing, but we do have some things that I think are just really spectacular.
Now, is that cowhide also?
That is a cowhide,
Oh
yes
my
it is.
gosh. What a fun place.
Well, thank you.
I like it.
If you'd like to have a little fun browsing the showroom, just stop by so we can help you create the right look for your home.
So I know you're very well known for your children's programs, and we're going to take a tour a little later. Will I run into Big Bird or Curious George here?
They'll be here in an electronic manifestation, delivered by satellite, and saves on the birdseed budget. So.
Oh, nice. So is Big Bird in here? Okay, yes, I'm convinced Big Bird has an office here, but this is the closest we could find. Have you wondered how a city like ours that is rich with so much history could just blow up its old buildings? If you've thought nothing built mid-century was still standing, think again. There are so many mid-century modern homes here, we spend a whole weekend celebrating. Organizers of the upcoming Mid-Century Modern Home Tour share details about the weekend of festivities you won't want to miss.
I'm Caroline Muse Grant, co-founder of the Architectural and Decorative Arts Society, otherwise known as ADAS. We are pleased to host our third annual Mid-Century Modern Weekend, October 26, 27, and 28, celebrating mid-century architecture and lifestyle. Our events include a Friday night sock hop with live music, fashions, and great fun. On Saturday, we'll have a symposium with experts on design and lifestyle. And on Sunday, we conclude with a 4-hour double-decker bus tour of the iconic mid-century neighborhoods here in our great city. For more information, visit our website at www.adas-lv.com, or you can contact me directly at creativemuse@cox.net.
What's your favorite Las Vegas discovery? Follow us and tweet with us at HometownD. Up next, our local pharmacist with some cooling relief for painful burns.
Burns are a serious medical accident that can happen pretty much any time, so we want to be very informed about them. Burns are classified based on degree, and that is based on how much involvement of the skin. A first-degree burn is where the first layer of skin, which is called the subdermis, and that is where a first-degree burn. A second-degree burn is in the dermis, which is your second layer of skin. And a third-degree burn, which is the most serious burn, is the hypothermos, or what we commonly call the subcutaneous area. Burns are very painful because we have so many nerve endings and your skin is very sensitive to touch, and so burns are painful. Burns, when you have a burn, I believe that you should never try to treat a burn yourself. I think you always need professional medical help. Burns can cause a lot of scarring, disfiguring, so I think they always need professional medical evaluation, and I don't think you should ever try to attempt to treat any type of burn. I can give you some first aid tips. The first thing we want to do is we want to get that patient into a safe environment. We want to remove any burning material. We want to cover the patient with a clean sheet. You can go ahead and try to clean the burn with a lukewarm solution, and then of course you want to call immediately 911 because we don't want to try to treat this. On a first degree burn, you can relieve the pain by maybe applying a cold pack to that area. And one of the myths about treating burns is the use of butter. You should never use butter on any type of burn. The best thing to use on a first degree burn would be something like coconut oil. Coconut oil is very helpful in relieving that pain. So again, I want to stress to you that I don't think you should ever try to treat any type of burn. On a first degree burn, you want to consult with your primary care physician. On a second and third degree burn, you need to call 911 right away and get professional medical help. Again, I want to thank all of you for watching Hometown Discoveries. It's been a pleasure to give this information to you, and remember, your health is priceless.
Previously on Hometown Discoveries, you heard from Branch Whitney, local author and hiking expert. You can see all our past programs on YouTube. You can even subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/Hometown Discoveries. We're back again with Tom Axtell, General Manager here at Vegas PBS. So we're back here this morning, Tom. For the audience who wasn't listening to the show yesterday, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've spent most of my life in broadcasting, both radio and television. Started out on the sales side of the business and later moved into management. But I've taken a few detours in the career, in and out. I've worked on some political campaigns, worked in a legislative office in a state senate in Wisconsin, and worked at a private college doing fundraising for them.
Wow, so that makes you a perfect fit here for Vegas PBS, and you've been here 18 years.
18 years, growing with the community.
Oh, that's great. Well, tell us, we talked yesterday about some of the things you do here besides produce great television programs, the arts with the Smith Center, the children's programs that you do. Talk to us a little bit about what you do for Homeland Security. That's really interesting.
Well, Homeland Security may be gilding it a little too. It's really emergency communications, and
okay.
We're a broadcaster. We're not interdicting the bad guys. That's for other folks. But if we were to have an earthquake in our community, or if a terrorist did something terrible, we've worked with all the first responders in our community and helped to collect building blueprints, utility connection information, and so on. So that, for instance, if there was an incident at a public school, we'd be able to pull up the blueprints of the school, who the kids are in the school, who's allowed to pick them up at a reunification site, who's not allowed to come close to them at a reunification site. And then we can hide that in our TV signal, and you can't see it at home, but we can send it out as a digital piece of data that is received in 82 police cars that have special decoder boxes in them, and on those little laptops that you see in the squad cars, they can see the information there. So that gives the police and the firefighters and the others who are trying to protect our children great tools should we have a tragedy somewhere.
That's wonderful. Well, we went on a tour earlier, and In Search of Big Bird and Curious George. Of course,
You never know. Curious George could be anywhere. Hang on one of the light poles up there.
Yeah, you never know where he's going to be. We didn't quite find him, but we did find some interesting things. You mentioned the Braille program. I had said I was going to ask you your favorite program here. Is that? Tell us a little bit about that. When you just light up when you talk about that.
Well, public television was the first network that did closed captioning for the deaf. And then it was the first network that put audio descriptions on it on about over a third of our programs, almost all of our children's programs. An audio description is for a blind kid where during breaks in the narrative there is a description of what's happening on the screen. So if you're hearing that at home, it's not that you're hearing voices, it's you actually have the second audio program turned on PBS and you're picking that up. But then when we met with groups serving the deaf and the blind, they said, well, could you increase the quality of sign language? And so we now have a program called Signing Time that we syndicate nationally. And the woman who does that teaches sign language. Well, it's got a great number, it's got great audience ratings. But in addition to serving that population, it turns out that children who are autistic sometimes will sign when they won't talk.
Wow.
There are some Down syndrome kids and other disabilities where sign language becomes a very effective medium. We didn't think that that was our target audience when we created that service, but now we have a huge following of people who find it helpful for their family situations. Then as we met with the deaf and the blind groups, they said, well, parents of blind children rarely learn Braille. And their kids have to read by 3rd grade, just like every other kid. So can you help us teach parents to teach their kids to read Braille? And so we worked with a wonderful grant from MGM Resorts International, and we've created a Braille literacy program for parents to allow them to integrate their education with their children. And then we received some other grants that allowed us to create a huge lending library that we make available free of charge to children in the state of Nevada. A teacher of a blind child can say, well, we're reading Red Badge of Courage in school. Do you have that on your Braille shelf? And we'll be able to pull that off, ship it to the school, and the kid will be able to do that. Well, that's a far cry from audio descriptions on a program. But by partnering with community groups, they said, here's an unmet need. You're already in the business of distributing media to people. Could you just add Braille books? And we said, well, we can if there's a grant. And the grants materialized because there was a need for it. And so we think that is what we mean by partnering with people and using the power of media to bring interested folks together and then to allow organizations that are meeting community needs to be more effective because of the power of mass media.
That's incredible.
And it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
It's a touching story, and it has a terrific impact on people who need these services.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. We have learned a lot, and I know we'll be back another time in the future to talk with you. I'm sure there'll be another plethora of programs that you'll have to talk about.
Well, thank you. And as you know, Vegas is a great town. Everything we've built is because people believed in us and they came to town and invested in us. And building great things is what this city does. It's not just resorts that are magnificent and beautiful, but we have nonprofits, we have other things, and I thank you for taking the time to make sure people in town know about all those good hometown discoveries.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
This has truly been an educational weekend for us here at Vegas PBS. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Saturday at 8:30 a.m. right here on KTUD VEGAS TV, cable channel 14. Join us for the best ideas on living, learning, working, and playing in Las Vegas. We'll be right here on KTUD VEGAS TV every weekend morning, and we are so excited to share our hometown discoveries with you.